Today is a monumental day for Chuck E. Cheese. David McKillips, CEO since 2020, has stepped down, and replacing him is Scott Drake. For anyone unfamiliar, which would be literally everyone, including all of the employees and managers I had spoken to, Scott Drake was the chief financial officer for the company that came on in May of 2024, just a few months after Mark Kupferman had been hired. Scott has worked exclusively as a financial planner his career, working at 7-Eleven from 2001 to 2015, GameStop until 2019, and Farmer Brothers Coffee until 2023. As far as we're aware, this man has had no public relations experience and has not even had a whisper of his existence for the 2 years he's been at CEC. Back in December 2023, Reuters had reported that CEC was trying to shop around for a new parent company, but this had died out after David noted their long-term strategies hadn't delivered any results to potential buyers. I was also told back when Adventure World was in its planning stages that CEC had tried making these new spin-off chains so they could all be allegedly sold later. Well, now it has been leaked to me once again that CEC is allegedly looking around for a new buyer. Given they put a financial guy in the seat of someone who's previously all been about appearances and PR, I think CEC is pivoting to keeping their financials straight while they sell themselves around. And that might come with some cost cutting as well. I think in the immediate term we won't see any direct changes, as the company still believes in pushing its global expansion and active player remodels, but in a few months when they need to make their next big PR push, I think it will be a different roadmap. Let's pivot back to David though. I think the way everything has been laid out suggests this was a forced resignation over any want to leave. David in his goodbye statement says, "I have enjoyed every day of my tenure here, and I feel like it's a great time for a transition," despite not revealing any company he's moving on to. This is especially strange as if you remember in the video I just made, David said, quote, "I won't stop until we have a movie. There are theme park opportunities, gaming opportunities. I'm not done until every 5-year-old is going to sleep in their Chuck E. Cheese pajamas and waking up and having Chuck E. Cheese cereal." He was saying this before knowing he was going to leave 3 weeks later. We also have statements from Joshua Achitel, who's been part of CEC's parent company, who does directly say that the employees should, quote, "look forward to seeing where he lands," end quote. He also notes Scott as having, quote, "a proven track record of financial excellence and strategic vision, having strengthened our balance sheet and positioned us for accelerated expansion," end quote, with him being, quote, "the right person at the right time to lead this incredible team," end quote. Now, while I wasn't in the fandom to witness the transition from Tom Leverton to David in 2020, it's been implied this was a similar ousting by the parent company, which was then Apollo Global. David claims he was on a recon mission and had attended a birthday party at the Grapevine location in October of 2019. He was then offered the job in November, and apparently Tom resigned in January of 2020. In one of David's PR interviews, he says the company had a bad reputation at the time, and other family entertainment centers had more interesting activities when he stepped in. He also noted CEC's failed merger with Leo Holdings in summer 2019 to get back on the stock market. If corporate is going to be sold off, and whether that's just gaining a new parent company or CEC plans to restructure and sell things like Adventure World and Peter Piper Pizza off, we should expect more resignations coming soon. Jay Spears, Chief Information Officer, already left on January 16th, and I was told by a few people that Randy Forsyth may also leave after not getting the role of CEO. These sort of things usually shake up who's all in the corporate roles. One possibility I failed to point out in the previous video is that if Scott decides to go through with greenlighting the CEC animated series, a restructuring could easily get rid of the in-house entertainment department in favor of contracting with Happy Nest. Matt Daniel has been with the company for 25 years and has sadly had to witness the complete gutting of Department 18 alongside many budget cuts. I have been told many times throughout the years that he's the only reason corporate still has an archive of its older shows, props, and animatronics. I will also remind everyone that corporate's office lease expires in July 2026 as per their SEC filing. There is a horrible possibility of them moving and Matt not being there to stop them from throwing away 50 years of history, though I'm sure there will also be a crowd of people waiting in the parking lot for that magnitude of a dumpster dive. I think my previous video was a perfect time capsule of what CEC was headed into, but now I think a lot of major things are about to happen. Whether that's with a restructure or simply what Scott has planned if he's steering the company in his own way. I will say to any employee or manager that if this is anything like what happened to GameStop, it's going to affect you first. GameStop in its restructuring had store managers lose all healthcare benefits. They were forced to manage 2 stores at a time or be fired. pay completely stopped increasing for employees, and labor hours were cut down so much that only a single employee could really be on the clock. And to all employees who now have to be sales reps for the Fun Pass, that new commission they give might not last. If it's run the same way, they're just going to go right back to firing you for not making quota. Especially if hours get cut and your individual performance has a higher impact on the store as a whole. But anyways, David is gone, so let's look back at his tenure. Of course, he walked right into a pandemic and a bankruptcy, so we'll ignore that. His first major thing was creating Pasquale's as a way for stores to have deliveries and stay open during the pandemic, which honestly was a good move outside the fact that it was a ghost kitchen. I think the naming goes back to him saying that CEC had a bad reputation at the time, and I mean, I wouldn't order Chuck E. Cheese pizza over any other place, but it was still a bad way of framing the possibilities there. Gene Landrum had scolded the first manager of the Winchester location back in 1977 over a similar thing. The manager was too worried about running a pizza place to see that he was running an entertainment venue.
I walked over to him, shook his hand. Hey, glad to see you again. What are you here? Oh, my daughter, she's over in the game room. She loves it. She's having a ball. She's just walking around this place, and we love it. And I said, is there anything we can improve? And he looked at me and said, yeah, Gene, one thing. My daughter's a little, disappointed. So what? It says on your menu here, the Chuck character comes out every 20 minutes. And we've been here for an hour, almost an hour and a half. My daughter wanted to shake his hand. I go back, grab the manager, and said, hey man, the policy is to have a character. You want to get in that costume and go out there? He said, you want that costume out or you want the pizza out? And I said, hey dude, this guy passed 60 pizza stores to drive down the peninsula in Northern California to get to our place. He ain't here for pizza. He's here for his daughter to enjoy. He didn't understand we're in the family entertainment business, not the stupid pizza business. He didn't get it.
I think David could have done better having that delivery experience be a fresh, new way to entertain kids at home. That could have been as simple as some sort of Happy Meal toy or a push into that metaverse virtual CEC idea that they never came out with. If that was done right, that could have genuinely been a great opportunity to transition out of the brick and mortar locations in the middle of the restructuring and be that media empire they kept dreaming of. Next, he got rid of tickets and SkyTubes, honestly understandable given the pandemic, and physical tokens and tickets were a waste of resources anyways. I don't like what we ended up with was done as generically as possible with taking some other company's tech and slapping a JPEG on the card. Just as we're about to see, his decisions are always cost-cutting without keeping the magic or style it once had. He then says he wants an animated series and a movie. 6 years later, and he has a 45-minute episode, no greenlit series, and no movie. His catchphrase this entire job was what I quoted earlier about kids eating Chuck E. Cheese cereal and watching a movie, which he brings up any chance he gets. He had 6 years to do 2 licensing agreements he wanted, and neither happened. Despite wanting to be a media empire, from 2021 to 2023, CEC produced the absolute bare minimum from the marketing and entertainment departments. I was there to witness employees complain about the same few songs playing for months on end across multiple show tapes. It's still an absolute drip feed compared to the 2000s, which I must remind absolutely everyone that Chuck E. Cheese has been producing 1 to 2 hour brand new shows with basically zero reused content every single quarter for 40 years. Around this time, we were lucky to get a single new song a quarter. CEC has had the ability to cycle around a larger playlist of songs under Jarrett Reddick's Chuck, but since 2015 they've been allergic to paying licensing fees and insist 100% of their songs must need to be produced in-house. A reminder that a new CEO can change anything, and it was David's decision to continue down this path. If you were there to witness it, CEC basically began running on autopilot for those years. There used to be some fun, one-time promotions that marketing had to plan to keep interest, but for that entire duration, CEC would just reuse Winter Wonderland, Summer of Fun, and Bootacular Halloween. This is the exact same pitfall long-lasting media gets into, like Team Fortress 2, which for a decade has only had a winter, summer, and Halloween update each year. CEC has also been running an internal cycle every year since 2017 where they'd introduce 1 new pizza, 1 new side, and a few new desserts. This is where we got stuff like the Rockin' Pizza Roll or the Ski Ball Pepperoni Bites, which again had that fun Happy Meal-esque flair you would want from an entertainment food company. David cut that entirely after 2021 in favor of just rolling out seasonal dessert items. CEC, in terms of being an eatery, hasn't really progressed outside of Bella's snack shop, and their attempt to let in-location customers buy the Pasquale's exclusive items died after they cut delivery altogether. I will say David did get Chuck E. Cheese food items back in stores. No, not for the first time, like they try to make it sound, but at least back to usual. I've not heard anything good about the pizza you could buy, but they also had snack rolls, string cheese, and an ice cream exclusive to California. All the way up to early 2024, this company was dragging its feet, just staying together. I feel like after Mark Kupferman joined, there was finally some sort of morale boost to finally take risks again. They set up Chuck's Arcade and the Fun Pass, the pilot special finally began being worked on, the active play areas began expansion, legacy locations were added, there were more global expansion plans, and then Adventure World. While the past 2 years are an improvement, it doesn't really feel like there's any complete vision, and it's more just doing whatever you can to stay relevant. They also had the longest rollout of a remodel ever, which was just recently completed from its debut in 2017. But given how each remodel has only ever been around for a decade at a time, they're going to need to do it all over again to stay relevant as they claim. Hopefully the next one brings back some of the theatrics and ditches the grocery store lighting. I think this old design audit CEC paid a company to present says it best. Current showroom has no strong focal and is a collection of stuff with no inner walls, making it feel like a warehouse. Either way, that'll be it for now as we wait to see what happens next. I also want to make a clarification on the last video. I had said that CEC had $25 million due in May of 2026, but that 25 was already paid when CEC restructured their debt in September 2025. If you want to see what happens under the new CEO, check out the Cheese-E-Pedia Forums, where anyone can submit news the moment it happens. The wiki is also hosting arcades as the topic of the month, if anyone wants to help with those articles. I will see you all in the next video, which should be a long talk on the development of Rocket Fire Replay.
Wow!